Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Gamer, and today I'm going to try my hand again at some terrain building for my frostgrave build. So to start with, I got some 3D printed pieces, just odds and sods really, which gave me the idea for this build, some sort of sewer entrance. And then we got some expanded polystyrene and some underfloor heating polystyrene, that, thicker stuff which you can actually put some sort of detail into. So yeah, I haven't done any builds for a while, so I've really had a bit of an itch to do this. So yeah, I'm hoping this turns out okay for us. So with everything that I build, my general plan is just put it on the board and have a look at how it's going to fit. I don't really plan anything out, but I figure this is sort of how I want it to end up looking like, with the sewer entrance more towards the front of the board than the back of the board. Because otherwise it's going to have like a vertical drop off at the back, and that would look a bit strange if there's some sort of sewer entrance and then it just disappears off the back. So I'm using Gorilla Glue to stick all the plastics together, like so. Now, I'm not using any specialist tools for this build. I haven't got any specialist tools, so that's probably why I'm not going to be using them. Most of the stuff you will have around, obviously the 3D printed terrain pieces you might not, but you could probably find something that you can use. I think this is probably going to be the way of the future for most people building their own terrain, is a few 3D printed greebles and, with your own terrain, because it's very then unique to you, because you still have to build most of the stuff, but these fine detailed bits really do add an awful lot to the builds. There's no way I could have carved that tunnel. It's just not within my personal abilities. So yeah, I'm cutting these pieces. You could have just broken them with your hand, just to get them roughly the right sort of shape to fit onto the bottom board. Now I'm using the backing of actually a cupboard. It's that thin wooden chipboardy type stuff that goes, and I just, and I have no problems with this. It doesn't warp or anything. I put a weight on it to make sure anyway, so yeah, we shouldn't have any problems. I'm using PVA. I know it's an air drying, adhesive, and but I've never had any problem using PVA on these sort of projects. It doesn't not stick down. It will. I don't know if I'm just lucky with that way or whatever. But I hear a lot of people say, no, you shouldn't use PVA. Shh, it's fine. So then I'm just going to break all these pieces of polystyrene into a rough shape which seems to fit the bottom board. It doesn't have to be specific, actually the more random it is the better. It's going to give you a rough texture, and it's breaking away those straight lines which are a bit of a giveaway that it's it's built by you. So then I'm going to cut this space here to place the first of the steps which I've got. So I want to be able to play with this terrain so that you can climb up on top of the hill and enter the entrance area of the sewers. So I just have to cut away until I can find a space where it'll actually fit. Now I'm marrying up the second piece of stairway so I can get sort of where it's going to be. I'm just using the offcuts to fill up below so that I've got a little ledge for it to sit on. As you can see, I do everything on the fly. Just keep digging away until you manage to get what you want, really. Then I'll stick the plastic stairs down to the other plastic stairs, just using a little overhang, or where the one sits on top of the other one, and I'll use just super glue on that. Make sure you don't put it on the polystyrene because it will eat into the polystyrene. So this is the last of my stairs that I'm putting in. Like so. Now I want to give a little shout out to Beard Clipper. He's the guy who's inspired me to build some more terrain. I've been watching his diorama buildings, and he just makes millions of these things, and it's really amazing what his imagination comes up with. So a shout out to Beard Clipper, a much bigger YouTube channel than my own, but a really decent seeming guy, you know. So there you go. So yeah, I'm getting the rush shape that I want the roof of the sewer to look like for the overhang, like so. And once I've done that, I'm adding PVA onto the top of it to try and get rid of the flatness that I've got on top, obviously, because this is all cut into like blocks. So, and then I'm just chucking down random pieces of this underfloor polystyrene stuff. I got millions of it, like I said, because I ordered slightly too much by accident, which wasn't really an accident, but hey ho. So yeah, we're just going to put them down in sort of random shapes and all. This is just it will take less of our modelling compound when we come to put that down. So we don't have to build in the mounds. They're already there in the actual structure of the hill. Now I'm being careful because I don't want the hill to be too undulating on top, because I want to be able to place miniatures, etc. Although I want it to be quite straight-sided. So although it's not vertical, it is quite hard, you know, they wouldn't be able to walk up the sides of the hill, but I do want them to be able to stand on the top of it, hence the stairs that are there to get you up to the top. So yeah, just chuck these on in random locations, not really giving it too much thought. I think if you overthink some of these things, sometimes you can get like a decision paralysis, or you suddenly start thinking too symmetrical and you'll end up with things looking just off. So just randomly chuck things down is always the best way to build, I think, these sort of natural builds. So, yeah, this is another piece of this underfloor heating stuff, and I've actually textured this one. I've cut some stone flagstones into it, or cobblestones if you like, but it's the same stuff. So next we're going to use our modelling compound. So I do 1 part water, a blob of brown paint, really dark brown paint, some PVA. As you can see, I'm not measuring this out apart from the water and the compound, so it's one of those things that you just, it becomes kind of obvious what sort of consistency you want when you do it. So, you know, just have a go. You can't go wrong with this. This is only about my 4th time of using the stuff, so it's not like I've used it a lot. And, you know, I get okay results for it. There you go, add a bit more water. Now, once I finished mixing it, I've probably left it a little bit dry. Maybe it could have done with being a little bit more manualable. I can't say that word today. That word. You know, it could have been a bit wetter, a bit more sloshy looking, so it would have gone down easier, and it would have been slightly easier to mold. But yes, so just, you know, push it down, get some random-ish sort of textures there. You know, when I'm putting it down, I'm trying not to get too much on the stairs. I want some, you know, I want there to be some sort of link between the surrounding ground and the stairs, but I don't want it completely covering, so I'm being a bit careful of that. It's the same with the tunnel underneath. When it comes to doing the tunnel, I'll put some inside the tunnel so it makes it look like there's some debris that's just been washed down through the sewers, etc. I don't want that to be too clean either. And as you can see, this stuff is amazing. It's so easy to work with, and it gives you, you know, whatever texture you really want with, you know, within reason. You could have it quite rough if you wanted to, but the best thing to do, I think, with this is just just mold it down and just press on it, and you know, keep moving your fingers around, and in the end you'll get like a nice undulation to the earth. Now as you go around the corners, try and make sure that the sculptor mold is covering everything, but you don't want it overhanging the base. You want to make sure that the base is the furthest part out on the model. So here it is when it's just about finished with the sculptor mold. And I'll give you a quick flash of what it looks like at the moment. Oh no, there you go. I'm putting some of the debris into it. I'm pushing it into the back of the tunnel so that it's got some texture at the back, so it's not just that flat polystyrene. So here I am. I'm using my dark brown again, which is the same colour that I actually mixed in with the sculptor mold. And I used some water and a couple of drops of washing up liquid to make sure it flows nice and easily. And I'm giving everything a good old wash over with this again, mainly because when you once you've done this, you'll find that there's little spots of white that are showing through, or spots of whatever. This will hopefully get rid of that because it's got the washing up liquid in. It'll flow into those little spots, and you won't have, you know, those horrible white bits showing through, which is not nice. You never want to see those little white bits showing through. So I'm just going over it all. Nothing really to say about this. Just make sure you hit everything and that it's all nicely covered. So next we've got a dark grey. It's almost a black, and this is a house paint, an enamel. Well, not enamel, emulsion rather. And I'm just going to pick out some of the flags, well, pick out all of the stones, the cobblestones, etc. on the front of the tunnel leading into the sewer. And then I'm going to hit the actual sewer pipe with the same colour, trying to cover everything because it's a really dark grey, so it'll, you know, it'll finger any shadows, etc. really well. Hitting the back of the tunnel as well, so hopefully it'll look like it's disappearing into the void. So we're picking out the stairs, obviously, because it's going to be stone colour. So anything stone is going to be painted this colour to begin with. Going up the sides, etc., because this looks like there should be rock there, obviously, because if it was mud, it would probably just collapse in on itself. So, yep, going to paint all this dark grey. And we're going to go around the model, carefully picking out, well, carefully, not carefully at all actually, but trying to think about where I want this sort of stone colour to be. And as you go around, you'll find where you think it should be and where you think it shouldn't be. And, you know, that's how you do it. Obviously, this big expanse at the back, that has to really be stone, because it wouldn't look right if it was just this brown or, in the end, flocked green mess. So next, using a makeup brush, a big one, which I've managed to pinch off my wife, and a light grey, we're going to just quickly go over all the stonework to pick out some detail. And as you can see, it's starting to pop already, just with the first pass. I got too much there, as you can see, but you just blend it out with your fingers. I'm going to want to pick out some of those stones anyway afterwards, so it's not going to really be a problem. And we just quickly go over there. And this is where I've got to on this video. Next video I will keep adding some colours and I'll get to doing some flocking.